Okay. This is the most exciting time of the year. We're just very fortunate and grateful to be playing in the NCAA tournament. Even more ecstatic about playing at home. Just want to quickly thank all of the incredible people at Cal who have been working behind the scenes to make this just a first, level event for everybody involved. Really proud of our players for getting us here and excited to get going. Wichita State is really, really good. It's been fun to watch them on film, to learn about them. They're 29-4 for a reason. Tremendous team. We have a challenge in front of us, and excited to get going.
Mike Vernon, San Francisco Chronicle. and Brittany, last time I talked to you guys, you didn't know much or really anything about Wichita State. What have you learned so far?
They're a really well-coached team. They're a very good defensive team. So I think one thing important for this game is take care of the ball. They have a really good point guard who's kind of running the show and can play pretty much all 5 positions. So, but yeah, they're a well-coached team, a good team all around. And, right now we're just preparing for them defensively, offensively, and mentally.
Stephanie Hammond from the Barry News Group. Mercedes, the second third of the season, you've really turned into a scorer for the team after, defense has been kind of your emphasis the first part of your career. What changed for you?
I would say confidence changed for me a lot. Playing behind, like, Boyd, like, seeing her play, like, her ability to play and her ability to score, I think I gained a lot of confidence, like, through her and, like, talking to her, working out with her, like, throughout the summer, throughout the season, and then, like, her building confidence in me, and then the rest of my teammates just having my back in whatever I do helped me a lot.
Hi, Jeannie McCauley from AP. Mercedes, what can you say about these 2 seniors and how special it would be to kind of go on another, deep run for these 2?
I look up to them. I really admire Rashonda and Boyd, honestly. So just to be able to, like, play with them, play for them, like, being seniors, says tremendous things about them. Like, the awards that they have, I really, like, appreciate them for who they are, and then they help me, I help them. So they're great people.
Brittany, how special is it for you to be able to play an NCAA game in your hometown? I mean, I know your family traveled with you to the past tournaments, but just to play at one of these games at home.
Yeah, I'm actually very fortunate, very blessed. I think they don't have to scramble for money to try to get, if we were somewhere else, try to get across the country. But I just think this is just a great opportunity for the community, for not just my family, but for everybody in the Berkeley community, the Bay Area community, just to come and watch a great team and 4 great programs battle in March. This is a great time of basketball. This is just a great feeling. So, like I said, I'm blessed, humble, and just grateful for this opportunity that we have to play at home.
Cheryl Coward, hoopfeed.com. Brittany, you mentioned their guards. I mean, they have Alex Harton, who fills up her stat line kind of like you do in different categories. How exciting is it for you to face another top-notch senior guard, in postseason play? And do you relish that challenge?
I accept any challenge that's given to me. I don't back down from anything or no one, but it's fun. I think March is fun. I think all the teams are great. I think it's really not about the point guard play, more as team play, even though we do, have the ball in our hand most of the time. But, I think what's going to be the difference of this game is the team play and, how we kind of, as point guards, handle the tempo and stuff like that. But it's more so the team play, and that's really what I'm focused on.
Rashonda, have you heard from your family in Wichita, and if so, what have they said?
Of course, I heard from some of my family members in Wichita. Of course, they're rooting for me because I'm relative, but other than that, I'm pretty sure they'd be rooting for Wichita.
Rashonda, they're allowing only 51 points a game. What have you learned over film that is going to be key to, getting an offensive flow and being able to adjust to whatever they do defensively?
First and foremost, we just want to play Cal basketball. We always want to do what we do best. And if they decide to take away our first thing, hopefully we have our second and third ready.
referenced some similarities with Arizona State. Do you see that as well? And maybe how much does that help you, having played a team that's similar?
Yeah, I think when you go to postseason play, I'm always very conscious of how we teach our players, what the other team's about, what we need to do. And I think a point of reference with someone they know is a good way to do it. So I've referenced Arizona State in terms of what Wichita State does to that league. They really pressure everybody, and they force a lot of turnovers. They get in your space. They make you uncomfortable. So I do think there are some similarities. I think that's helpful for our players to have that point of reference. I also know that Jody Adams is an incredible coach, and she makes game plan adjustments. We watched their film of Tennessee. They did some different things against Tennessee than they did against Northern Iowa. So we expect some different looks on defense, but I do think the number one thing is going to be taking care of the ball. And for our players, hearing Arizona State is the best way to get that message across, which again speaks to the strength of our league. And I think going through what we've gone through in the Pac-12 has prepped us for any style of play that we'll face.
Lindsay, with that being said, taking care of the ball, I know it's all about the team, but how much pressure does that put on Brittany, and how much, I guess, importance on her being under control?
Yeah, well, I think anytime we face a pressure team, a lot of coaches have to think about press breaks and draw up press breaks, and I have the luxury of saying get the ball in Brittany's hands, and she's a one-woman press break in that sense. So that's a positive. I think that the overall taking care of the ball is everybody. We have pressure releases. We have drills that we do when we're getting ready to handle teams that pressure you, and that's not just Brittany. That's how we reverse the ball. How do we get the ball inside when we need to? How do we attack from the wing? And so I think that's been an emphasis for all of our players this week. And something that we know is going to be a big part of the game plan.
Are there any advantages at all of playing a team that you've never faced before in program history for you?
I mean, it's funny. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jody today in the meeting, but I was going to tell her that it's just I watch a ton of basketball, and I had never had the chance to watch them before. We didn't have a common opponent. I haven't seen them on TV, and it's been fun for me because they're really good and they're really well coached, and you learn something every time you watch a new team. I mean, I wasn't surprised when I was reading up to be, oh yeah, she played at Tennessee because their style mimics, how hard they play is like a Tennessee team, a Pat Summitt Tennessee team. So for me, it's been fun. In terms of advantage, disadvantage, I mean, I think anytime you get to the tournament, it's different than that third time you play a team in conference. Than that, we know Stanford's going to do this, or they know we're going to do that. It's a different feel when you're playing a team for the third time, and there's a freshness about playing a team for the first time. We know that they don't know us inside and out, and we don't know them inside and out. And so I think for the players, it energizes them to, like Rashonda said, try to do what we do at the highest level. And I think that's part of postseason, is that there isn't the same familiarity, and so you kind of go back to the things that make you Cal, and I'm sure they go back to things that make them Wichita State, and hopefully that's a really good battle to try and come out on top.
Lindsay, there was a 4 or 5 game stretch for you guys where the starters were getting really heavy minutes, and there was some second half kind of, I don't want to say collapse, but some problems in the second half for you guys. What changed after? I mean, because in the Pac-12 tournament, you play 3 games in 3 days and come within a bucket of winning the whole thing. Do you think fatigue was a problem at all? And did you change anything, or was that just kind of a weird coincidence that you had so many games in a row?
Yeah, I wouldn't. There was a couple games in there where we didn't have great second half performances, and I analyze everything that can be, and I mean, my conclusion, it was more mental than physical. And so we tried to address some of those things, because I think we showed in the Pac-12 tournament that it didn't seem like a physical thing. It's funny, Rebecca Lobo texted me when she was getting ready for this game and said, wow, Wichita State, they play their starters a ton of minutes. And I said, have you looked at our stats? It's 2 teams that aren't the deepest teams, but I do think sometimes it takes a little bit of an adjustment to know how to play through some ups and downs. I think that's what our team has learned. I think, I've done a better job of, yes, even though we're really only going 7 deep, of strategically getting a minute or 2 here and there for people to keep them fresh. But I also think our players locked in mentally, and I think what we saw in the Pac-12 tournament was not perfect basketball by any means, but our most confident group and our most dialed in group and locked in group. And I think that's as important, from a mental standpoint as any type of physical fatigue.
sorry. Go ahead.
Stephanie, follow up, and then we'll go to Jay.
Okay. As Courtney looked like she was kind of finally rounding back into form in the Pac-12 tournament too. Was her kind of slow return? Was that mental or physical, or a combination of the two?
Yeah, Courtney was terrific in the Pac-12 tournament. She just played with a lot of confidence. She's such a unique player. Just as an example, when Brittany got hurt, Courtney was at the scorer's table to sub in for Rashonda, and then Brittany was hurt, and I said, okay, get Brittany. Now, how many people can go sub in for the 5 or the 1? Not that she's going to play the 1, but that's how versatile she is and how versatile our team is. And so we've known in general that that's what Courtney's capable of, giving you inside points, outside points. And I think when you come back off of an injury, you're cleared to play by the doctors, but you also have to get back in rhythm and get your sea legs back and get a feel back. Also for her figuring out it's tough to play multiple positions and you have to get in rhythm. So I just think it was a matter of kind of finding her stride in terms of confidence level and knowing what she can do at each spot. And I thought she did that really, really well in the Pac-12 tournament. She's had great practices this week. So I think we sort of feel like we have 6 starters, and she's, in that group, and her being able to give us major minutes makes us a much, much better team.
Lindsay, I know they're going to say tunnel vision, but this is your first senior class. And
Yeah.
What would it mean to kind of send these two off with a special, deep run? And I know you're not looking at.
Yeah. Back when the senior day stuff and I was an emotional wreck, I think I sort of understand when parents who have their first child going off to college and freaking out. I went through my moments of, because I do, we've been through so much, me personally with this senior class and I think as a group. And I think since then, and they've really always been this whole season wonderful about staying in the moment. They've taught me a lot about appreciating just each day and what that brings and not looking ahead. But I think all of us, since the emotion of all of that, have kind of locked into just being the best team we can be. Not just Brittany and Rashonda, but the whole team. And I think that's served us really well. And I think we're all at the point where we're ready to make a deep run. We're in a good place. And it feels right. They've done so much for this program. They've grown up a lot. They're focused on making sure the freshmen appreciate this experience and making sure our young players know what tournament basketball is about. And I think that's really high level of them to kind of be able to focus on other people. And for me, I just want to have this go as the way they would dream for it to go. I think I owe that to them, and I'm excited. Everyone seems to be ready to go and focused on the right things.
My last one, and then I'll give this to somebody else. And Lindsay, we've talked just throughout the season about Jefflo and just when she has a big game. But what has her development meant for you guys this year?
I think it's all the difference in the world. I think, there's obviously a lot of talk about Brittany and Rashonda, as there should be, but our team is better when we have 4 or 5 people in double figures, when we have contributions from all over. And the good part is that it doesn't have to be any one person, right? But I think we've seen that sometimes, it's Courtney, Michaela, Gabby, Jefflo, Nina, any 2 or 3 of them, and we're really good, in addition to, Brittany and Rashonda drawing the attention that they draw. What Jefflo's done is turned herself into a confident, consistent, high-level basketball player, and it's been really fun to see. As far as coaching goes, she is the epitome of you work for it, you put in the time, and then eventually it pays off. She had a great summer. She came in really confident as a sophomore, and early games, it didn't show. And that was, for me, I felt for her and for us on that, and then she just kept sticking with it, and all of a sudden, she's scoring big baskets in big games, and then you see the confidence even, emerge more. So she is a kid who can hit the 3, can get to the rim, shoot a pull-up, and play defense. In college basketball, that's really important, and to have that, as a kid who's not the focal point makes us much, much more dangerous. So, we think we're a better team with multiple contributors, and she's a huge part of that.
Have you thought at all about the fact that all of coaches here are not only all women, but none of you have been with your program for more than 7 years, but you've all kind of turned around programs. I mean, with Western Kentucky, it's been tremendous. Wichita State, they've had success. Have you thought about that at all?
I didn't know that particular stat. What did jump out to me, early when the selections and the seeds were announced, right away people said we have one of the most exciting, / toughest pods. I also heard we're the one where everybody is either ranked or receiving votes. I've obviously been focusing on Wichita State and have been really impressed with not just their record, but the way they play and how hard they play and the sets that she runs. I mean, they're extremely well coached. Then just, knowing a little bit about Texas and Karen and Michelle at Western Kentucky, just have so much respect for the jobs that they've done. We were in the same pod with Western Kentucky last year. We didn't end up playing them, but we sat and watched them almost beat Baylor, and I was like, wow. And everyone in the coaching world has so many good things to say about Michelle. And then obviously, Karen's gotten to Texas and instantly sort of turned it around, and the job they're doing in recruiting. So it's more me looking at these programs and going, everybody's really good, and it's fun to be with high-level people. I'm very humbled, but I didn't know the stats that people hadn't been there for very long, but you can tell there's a kind of youthful energy about each of the coaches in the group.